How's it going, everybody? A topic that frequently gets brought up when it comes to what kind of videos I should make is executions. Which ones are the best for each character, which ones should you buy, and so on. That video would be outdated within a season. Plus, there are two sources out there where you can look all that up. For one, the Info Hub, as well as Skadengo's Reddit thread that usually gets updated within 24 hours after new executions were released. The man works quick and the info is accurate. So, either of these two sources works if you want to look something up that concerns executions. I know I do, I check it pretty often. But what we can talk about in this video is what you should look for when trying to decide on an execution, and then the rare case of executions that can be cancelled early. More on that in just a second. So what to look out for when you try to pick up a new execution. You want two different types. I guess you can even make the argument for three. The first, the quickest execution a hero has to offer. The only thing that matters is speed, preferably both kill as well as overall time. Second, the fastest 50 XP execution. And third, the longest possible execution. Why the longest? The other two make sense. You want the quickest one so you can quickly move on, but add a few seconds of a respawn timer on your opponent, as well as deny any possibility of a revive. The 50 HP one is also pretty self-explanatory. 50 HP is the most an execution can give you, and you want it to be done quickly so you can move on. But sometimes you don't want a short execution. Imagine this scenario. You're currently killing someone and your team score in Dominion is something like 975. The opposing team is not breaking yet, so if you pick a quick execution, there's a chance that the guy will respawn and you have to deal with them again. In this case, you pick the longest execution you have and try to lock your opponent down while your team generates the last few points. This has happened to everyone who ever played Dominion. We've all got executed, and on that very second, you break it. If the execution happens on a point, long executions also allow for a full capture during the animation. That occupies 3 of your execution slots now. The 4th is whatever you want them. In the end, a specific execution will probably not win you the game, so pick whatever you think looks cool. Or just pick the new just released one, but if you follow some kind of pattern, then follow it on all of your characters. If X or square or E is your fast execution, then have the fast execution on that button for every single character. I know that most of you have probably implemented this type of system already, but it never hurts to remind players. So if you look through the list of all executions on the two sources, you might have noticed the following. In the duration column, you can sometimes see 2 values. That can mean 2 things. For one, the duration of the execution can vary for the guy executing and the person being executed. The other possibility is that the execution can be cancelled early, but the executed still stays in the full animation. So how do we do that? Well, you simply walk away. Yes, that's it. You simply move. Your opponent will be stuck in the execution for the full duration while you can already go about your business. This is more obvious if you go out of luck, but make absolutely sure no one is around, otherwise you'll open yourself up for some nasty punishes. Characters like Lawbringer or Ramusha have a few that fall under either of the 2 categories, and well, most characters don't have a single one. As I obviously don't have all of them unlocked, I can only show you a few here. A lot of the time when an execution has a long idle pause at the end, it lets you just simply move out of it. Lawbringer's or Come On is probably the biggest offender here, as it cuts almost 4.5 seconds of animation. And you can even see the invisible pole arm poking the corpse. Now here's the question. Should this be a thing? And if yes, should all executions that have a lot of idle time and pausing at the end be able to be cancelled? Should we just get rid of those pauses altogether? The question is basically, should we look at executions from an efficiency standpoint, or should we just treat them as customization, aka style points? I personally don't think that we can disregard either. Executions do have an impact on gameplay. Not to a huge degree, but dismissing their impact is also wrong. But they are also the major cosmetic addition to the game lots and lots of players are waiting for each season. And some of those poses were put there for a reason, to convey whatever the artist had in mind. Other times it might just be laziness on the artist's part because a transition is easy after an additional 800 milliseconds or whatever. Who the fuck knows? I'm sure everyone watching can give input here. I doubt everyone is familiar with every single execution, so feel free to share specific ones that could benefit from being able to be cancelled out of the end animation. You've seen a few examples on screen here already. Another thing that was obvious when looking at a lot of executions is that not all of them line up. With that I mean, the time your actual respawn timer starts and your opponent being able to move can differ greatly. You can see it with these two Nobushi executions here. One is perfectly synced while the other just seems completely random. So once again the question, do we need standardization here, or is it something so negligible that resources would basically be wasted on trying to fix this? But yeah, I guess that's it for executions for now. Let me know if you still have any questions. I asked for a lot of feedback. I hope I made things a little more clear for everyone. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.